Hey everybody, my name is Paul Esden Jr., aka Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/BoyGreen25. Make sure you like the video, hit subscribe down below for more fantastic New York Jets content. And man, you just got to love it, quite frankly. These New York Jet players currently on the team are on the recruiting trail to try to bring new talent to the team. And the latest culprit is John Franklin Myers, the New York Jets' $55 million defensive lineman who took to the social media streets to recruit a recently released wide receiver. And before I get there, we have a full column down below from the Heavy on Jets page exploring this in even greater detail. So make sure you guys either follow along while you're listening to the video or check out the article down below and support both my articles, of course, and the channel by checking out all the intricate details down below. But we'll also throw it up here on the big screen. This is the second time that John Franklin Myers has attempted to recruit this individual, and that individual is free agent now, wide receiver Robert Woods. He was just on the Tennessee Titans last year. Again, that was quite frankly just a bit of a disaster, to be honest with you. But he said this. So after the news came out that Robert Woods was cut, shout out to Jordan Schultz of The Score, who first had that scoop. But John Franklin Myers quote tweeted Dov on Twitter and said, "Come join the movement at Robert Woods at the official Jets account." As I mentioned, this is the second time that John Franklin Myers has attempted to recruit Robert Woods to the Jets. Last year, you guys can also check out my tweet. He tweeted out about a year ago on March 18th of 2022, at Robert Woods, "I miss you. New York is a beautiful place. FYI," doing his best to recruit Robert Woods to the team. Now, for those of you who say, "Wow, Robert Woods, that's kind of random, isn't it? Robert Woods." But actually, John Franklin Myers, before he came to the Jets, was a member of the Los Angeles Rams, and he was on the Rams team with Robert Woods for one season. That was back in 2018. Pretty magical season, as it turned out, because it went all the way to the Super Bowl that year. That was one of the weirdest Super Bowls ever. The Patriots won 13-3, so they lost that Super Bowl. And after that, the Rams would cut John Franklin Myers ahead of final roster cuts in 2019. The Jets scooped him off of waivers, and we all know how that story turned out. Well, Robert Woods stayed on the Rams, ended up winning a Super Bowl ring, that just being 2 years ago when they beat the Cincinnati Bengals and won that championship. So Robert Woods is a professional wide receiver. I know he's not the first name you think of when you think of some of the best wide receivers in football, but he's just a professional. He's a 6-foot wide receiver hovering around 200 pounds, a little lighter than that at 195, and he's a great route runner. This is a guy that can move and groove. He's a good blocker. Really, there's a lot to like about Robert Woods. He's had a couple of go-go seasons during his career. That was during the height of the Sean McVay era. Beyond that, he's just had some other years as well. Those 2 years I'm talking about, he had back-to-back seasons where he had 1,200 yards and 1,100 yards receiving and high reception totals. We're talking 86 catches, 90 catches. Overall, for the breadth of his career, he's been in the league for 10 years. He started off his career, as Jet fans should remember, with the Buffalo Bills, then went over to the Los Angeles Rams on a big deal, and then he was traded to the Tennessee Titans last offseason. We'll get to the Titans in a second. The overall numbers for Robert Woods, 623 catches, 7,600 yards, and 37 touchdowns. Again, he is a great technician as it pertains to a route runner. He'd be a great guy to have in the room. He being Robert Woods. I really like Robert Woods. I think he's a really talented guy. He's 30 years old. He will turn 31 ahead of the start of the 2023 season. And I'll be blunt, he's coming off a rough year. He was traded for a 6th-round pick. He had the torn ACL the year before. So, again, he tore his ACL. That's how OBJ originally got signed to replace him on the Rams, and they all win a Super Bowl ring. Well, while he was injured, he was still traded to the Tennessee Titans for a 6th-round pick, and he was supposed to be a key part of their offense this past season. Now, the Titans were one of the biggest regression teams in the NFL, so they completely fell off a cliff, and just nothing seemed to click. Ryan Tannehill got hurt during the year. Like, there was a lot of bad. And he's coming off a rough year, and he just got cut by the Tennessee Titans. So he's out on the free agent streets, and he could be an intriguing guy for the Jets, especially since there's a lot of potential turnover in the wide receiver core. What happens to Braxton Berrios? What happens to Corey Davis? And with some of that roster turnover, Robert Woods could be a nice high-floor option that can come in and be a professional. It would be great for Garrett Wilson to have that kind of guy in the room. It would be great for Elijah Moore to have that guy in the room. And of course, there's the obvious connections beyond, well, JFM's recruiting efforts, which, by the way, regardless of how you feel about Robert Woods, quick detour here, you just got to feel great that the Jets are out there, Jet players like JFM, Mekhi Becton, Sauce Gardner, which we did another video on last week trying to recruit OBJ, that you're just seeing these guys out there on the streets trying to do what they can with their power, their platform to bring players to the Jets. So whether you fans like Robert Woods or not, I know a few people don't believe it's a great fit because he's 6 foot and 195 pounds. Some Jet fans would like to see some big bodies added, like Alan Lazard at 6'5" or what have you. And while I agree in a perfect world on a lab table, I would like some size added to the room. I'm not going to be mad if there was 5 Garrett Wilsons on the team. We're going to say, well, they're all kind of short. No, none of us are saying that. Give me talented football players. So even though Robert Woods isn't a massive guy, I'll still take a good receiver as a wide receiver 3 or 4 on this team. I still think that could be incredibly productive to be a part of the room. Plus, injuries always happen. So Robert Woods intrigues me, but I just have to say overall, it's cool seeing Jet players out there in the free agent streets trying to do what they can. We had Laken Tomlinson on the show 2 weeks ago. He talked about helping, the Jets recruit some guys to the table. But back to it here, the Jets have a couple of former Tennessee Titans coaches that work with Robert Woods. Heck, just this past season, Todd Downing work with the Tennessee Titans last year. Keith Carter worked with them. So they'll have some inside knowledge there, and Robert Woods could be an interesting guy. So again, Robert Woods has been released JFM for a second time. He tried last offseason when he was a trade candidate. I remember even me making a video going, Jets, why the hell would you not going after Robert Woods? That's a guy you may want to think about bringing in. And they did not. And I was a little upset about it, especially for what he went for. And he ended up having a bad year. So who knows? Maybe the second time will be the charm here as JFM attempts to lure Robert Woods here to the New York Jets. Again, a very tantalizing option, one that would be for free. Basically, I think the money would be super small and bring a veteran in the room. What could go wrong? Again, you guys could check out the full article down below. It's got some more details about all of this and some of the history of JFM attempting to recruit Robert Woods here. What do you guys think? Would you want Robert Woods on the team or would you not? To me, again, even though he doesn't fit the size profile of a 6'5" guy, I don't care as long as he can play football. They can all be 6 foot flat or shorter. Again, I'm also a vertically challenged guy myself at 5'3" on a slanted hill, so that's neither here nor there. I'm always fighting for the shorter guys out there, relatively speaking, since I'm 5'3" and Robert Woods is 6 foot, but that's neither here nor there anyway. But thanks for tuning in, everybody. Make sure you like the video, hit subscribe down below. We'll have some fun live streams coming up. Also, a new show coming out later this week should be officially announced, so hopefully you guys can stay tuned for that. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you next time right here on the channel.